Previously on the Rubin Report.
The question needs to be bigger than just one person.
She wants his head on a plate or on a bite.
The Democrats completely neglect males.
Why are they all these Democrats? They all talk like this.
Bananas.
Are there bananas?
Our best defense has been social distancing.
Ribavirin is not a drug. All right, guys, according to the paperwork, I'm Dave Rubin. This is the Rubin Report. It is time for another roundtable spectacular. I usually say they're extravaganzas. Today, I feel is going to be spectacular. And joining me once again is the host of Emily Saves America, Emily Wilson, and a first-time Rubin Report guest. First could always be the last. You never know what's going to happen here. The host of Spot On with Link Lauren. Emily, Link, how are you, crazy kids?
Oh, I'm great. Thanks for having me.
I have to say, another day in Los Angeles.
Right. Basically, Emily comes on to complain about Los Angeles. But Link, you've never been on the show before. I should note that we've connected 30 seconds before we went live here. There was a lot of concern, everyone feeling they look very pale, but you really take the cake on this thing. You're almost translucent. It's incredible.
Well, I only look super pale under these lights, and I realize that this light's not on, so we're just going to make it work for today. Okay, y'all know I'm very pale. I'm a little more pink in real life, but it's okay. I mean, I got to find a happy medium between vampire and Jersey Shore. You know, at some point, I got to find a happy medium.
All right, we are going to plow through skin tone nonetheless, and on Fridays we just kind of catch up on the craziness of the week. But I thought this one was kind of interesting because obviously you guys are kind of new media pundits, columnists, commentators, whatever we all are at this point. And there's obviously this tension now between old school media and new school media. And something interesting is potentially happening over at CBS. This is from Mario Nafal on the X. Bari Weiss raids CNN for Scot Jennings in CBS News makeover. CBS News chief Bari Weiss reportedly met with CNN's conservative pundit Scot Jennings at network headquarters, eyeing him for her balanced news overhaul. Jennings has gained cult status among conservatives for his pro-Trump advocacy on hostile CNN territory. The timing is perfect. John Dickerson announced his exit from CBS Evening News amid painful job cuts. Weiss is also courting Fox News anchor Bret Baier, though he's locked up through 2028. Legacy media outlets are suddenly desperate for conservative voices that can actually connect with audiences. Jennings proved you can survive behind enemy lines and thrive. Smart poaching season for Weiss, and that's all according to the New York Post. So the particularly interesting thing about this, of course, is that Bari Weiss came from mainstream media. Obviously, New York Times very publicly left there because they went so bananas lefty. She starts the Free Press, so she's then part of alt media. Now she sells the Free Press to CBS, to Paramount. Now she's part of mainstream again, and she's trying to bring Scot Jennings, who's hot online, even though he's on CNN mainstream media. I think that all made sense. Link, what do you make about this tension between online mainstream media? Is there any point in even saving mainstream media at this point, or should Scot and the rest of the sane people at CNN, if there's anyone left, just do what we do and forget CBS and the rest of them?
Well, what's funny is you mentioned 2028 and Bret Baier. I'm like, is CBS going to be around in 2028? I mean, no disrespect to Bari Weiss. Like, I'm so happy she got $150 million. Like, that's amazing. Girl boss, go you. But I'm more interested in like CVS pharmacy than I am CBS. Okay, I don't really care what CVS has going on. I saw these other stories like Gayle King might be leaving CBS. Does anyone in my generation care that Gayle King is leaving CBS? I don't think anyone really is tuning into this show anymore. They have a very small niche audience. I do think, hey, maybe they can save it. Maybe they can bring in some fresh faces and some fresh voices. But if you're going to hire those voices, you got to let it rip. Okay. You can't have them muzzled in any way. You got to let them come on there and let it rip and let the chips fall where they may. But I don't know if the CBS audience that's built in is going to accept someone like Scot Jennings at all.
Emily, speaking of CVS, you are in Los Angeles where you're welcome to walk into any CVS and steal whatever you want for under $800. What would you take?
I I don't go to CVS because I'm really scared when I'm in there that I'm going to get robbed myself.
That one, do you know that one in West Hollywood on the corner of Santa Monica and what was that? Santa Monica and La Cienega? I mean, that place was like a meth dungeon. I just wanted some cold medicine.
I mean, this is a story for another time, but I will tell you, of all the meth heads and crackheads stealing at CVS, one time I got physically assaulted by a security guard because he thought I took a water bottle. And I was like, I just want to let you know how insane this is right now. I'm the only person in here paying, and I have Golden Goose on. I'm like, please chill. But I will say, I think he should go. He should go wherever he's going to get more viewers, and realistically he's not going to be completely censored. But I'm like, at the same time, don't we kind of agree that him being with them makes them look so bad that it's also kind of such a win for us? But he should go wherever he's going to have the biggest platform, because I'm a fan. I think he's fantastic.
He's great. I mean, we play clips of him constantly. And the funny thing that I always say about him is if you look at the guy, I mean, and I don't mean this offensively, he's extremely average. He looks kind of average. He speaks in sort of a very average manner, but it's just that he makes basic sense with a bunch of brainlets that he's becoming a big star. Let's throw a clip of Scot for those who may not be familiar.
I think the highlight reel that you just played, spliced with the highlight reel of all the people trying to run the Democratic National Committee at their organizational meeting, ought to be put together, and we ought to take money from the Republican National Committee and play it on a loop. Ladies and gentlemen, the American left is so far off the rails, they're going to have to get Google Maps to find their way back. They are way gone right now, and it's glorious.
I mean, guys, that's kind of the point right there, right? He comes in with his funny quips, but all he's doing is basically making sense, and I suppose making sense in a system that doesn't make a lot of sense is rather radical. Look at this chart showing the decline in total viewers among mainstream news networks. I mean, we barely have to go through the numbers right there. But if any of us in our career were trending that way, we would probably be doing other things. Link, what would you be doing if your numbers were going in that direction?
If numbers were going down, maybe I'd go into like entertainment law or something like that. I'd go be a lawyer so I can yell at people all day and argue and, take them to task. That's probably what I'd be doing. But I feel like cable news is the only place you can really fail upward. Like you can bring in no viewers, no audience, and still get like $12 or $13 million a year for sitting there and doing nothing and parroting DNC talking points. So I actually think that's a great gig for you. I'd love to see Scott Jennings on TV more. I think Scott Jennings could have his own show on CNN. Maybe Scott Jennings goes over to Fox. Maybe he goes to CBS. He should go get a check and go where they're going to let him speak his mind and speak his truth. But I also think you should look into more independent media because that seems to be where people are going.
Emily, what would you say to the argument that, and I think this is actually kind of legit, that if he goes to CBS and Bari turns this thing into something that's moderate and not psychotic, that it actually is good, even though young people aren't paying attention, because ultimately if that kind of works and people are paying attention, that might actually moderate NBC and ABC and CNN and New York Times, that it could basically create a domino effect. And even if people are paying less attention, it would kind of be good for the country if they were not all as radically loony as they are.
Yeah, it would be good because I have all my friends who are not in politics. Like my best friend in New York, she's very much so like, you're so aggressive and crazy. The other side's so aggressive and crazy. She's like, is anyone normal anymore? And I think a lot of people who just operate in real life, like she's a nurse. You know what I mean? She works long hours. She's not doing what we do and watching what we watch. I think a lot of people like her would be more inclined to pay attention, to get involved locally, to actually start voting, to register to vote. If there was more people that were more middle and because she's like, it's just all too extreme for me, so I tap out. And we don't want people to tap out. We want them to tap in.
Yes. Yeah, I totally agree. If that all moderated and became sane and people tuned in, even if that literally cost me clicks and money, it would be good for the country and I would be completely all for it. I really do mean that. Let's talk about Tax Network USA. And then a certain orange man is suing a certain British-run news agency. If you owe the IRS back taxes, they can garnish your wages, levy your bank accounts, even seize your retirement or take your home. Don't let the IRS target you. Call the professionals at Tax Network USA. Their tax lawyers and enrolled agents are experts in powerful programs that may even help you reduce or eliminate your tax debt. Tax Network USA is A+ rated and has saved clients over $1 billion. Whether you owe a few thousand or a few million, they can help. In just one phone call, you can start the process of stopping those threatening demand letters, ending the aggressive collections and resolving your tax problems once and for all. But you have to act now while you still have options. For a free consultation, call Tax Network USA today at 1-800-958-1000 or visit tnusa.com/Dave. Don't let the IRS be the first to act. All right, so we covered this earlier in the week, but I wanted to hit it with you guys. Trump is officially suing the BBC for selectively editing one of his speeches on January 6th. First, we're going to show you a little bit of an interview with him explaining why he's doing it. Then we'll show you the edit itself.
Are you going ahead and suing the BBC?
Well, I guess I have to. Why not? Because they defrauded the public, and they've admitted it, and they're top echelon.
Director General and the CEO
This
both
is
resigned.
within one of our great allies. This is supposedly our great ally, BBC. The government has a chunk of that one, I guess. But that's a pretty sad event. They actually changed my January 6th speech, which was a beautiful speech, which was a very calming speech, and they made it sound radical. And they actually changed it. What they did was rather incredible. They're showing me the results later on, the results of what they did, how they butchered it up. But it was very dishonest, and the head man quit, and a lot of the other people quit.
Okay, so I want to show you guys the edit itself. And this was on a documentary that was on BBC. And what I think is particularly interesting about this isn't just some private organization, private show that did this. BBC obviously is funded by the British government, which makes this whole thing a little more perverse. Take a look.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and I'll be there with you, and we fight. We fight like hell. We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women.
Emily, there's even a more extended version of that where it's just very clear he was not calling for violence there. They cut out him saying cheer for the people who were going to, in essence, take his side on some of this stuff. But he never called for violence or anything like that. I mean, this doesn't surprise anyone on our side, right? Like, none of this surprises us, right?
No, it doesn't surprise us, but I think for people over there, it's like, well, don't you guys think that's a little crazy that your entire government made something so edited and so biased, especially when, all of the UK is like completely falling apart right now. But also it's I watched the extended version, and it's like one actually sounds like he's inciting and calling for violence. And then the other one is like he said, a very peaceful thing. So it's not like they edited it where he sounded stupid. You literally edited something to sound like he is calling for violence, which is a huge deal, especially with what's going on in the state of our country right now.
Right. And they clearly are admitting it's a huge deal because literally the CEO of the BBC has stepped down, although then she subsequently was like, well, this doesn't prove systemic bias. I'm just stepping down, which makes no sense because you're the CEO. It's the only reason you would step down. Link, what do you think about just sort of philosophically the idea of the president of the United States having to sue news outlets? Because it's not the first time he's done it. He got 60 Minutes to walk back some stuff. He's threatened some other ways. Obviously, there's some slippery slope situation here.
Well, I called Trump the FAFO president. Like, this is the F around and find out administration, right? Like, nobody crosses Trump and comes out better on the other side, okay? So if they deceptively edited this video, he is going to sue you, okay? And even before he was president, didn't he sue Bill Maher for $5 million because Bill Maher made some comment about him? Like, you do not want to F around and find out with President Trump or he is going to sue you. And the thing is, right, nobody gets more negative press than him, but nobody cares because the media doesn't have that much influence. But we're not asking for positive press, right? President Trump isn't asking for tons of positive praise. He's just asking, hey, maybe be fair. Don't deceptively edit it to look like I was inciting violence and inciting a riot. The last thing I'll say is anyone watching BBC? Speaking of networks, who is watching the BBC? I imagine their audience hates Trump anyway, right? So they're preaching to the choir.
Yeah, I mean, somebody's watching it, right? And again, it is funded by the government. But yes, people by and large are tuning out of these things. And there might be a reason why, because I was a little 50-50 on this clip, whether we should show it. Here is what appears, well, this is a trans person talking about drugs and sex and trans milk.
Okay.
So enjoy.
If we actually grappled with the fact that sex negativity is what causes this type of behavior, then we could create a world where in a idyllically sex-positive world, someone is able to pay conscious women to come and be drugged so that I can get my kink out, my fetish on having sex with unconscious people. There's a consensual way to do that.
Now, transgender woman's milk is just as good for babies as breast milk. That's according to a letter from the medical director at University Hospital Sussex NHS Foundation Trust. The claim was made as part of a response against campaign groups. The trust referred to studies and the World Health Organization guidance, including one case which found what it called no observable effects in babies fed by induced lactation.
Emily, I know I'm getting old. But those are two BBC clips. One of them, that was a sex therapist. That was the sex therapist trans? That's unclear, but obese for sure. Explaining that it should be okay to drug sex workers to get your kink off on your, I want to have sex with unconscious people, very Bill Cosby-ish. And then the second thing was that the trans person's milk, which is a man's breast milk, help me. Maybe the coffee didn't kick in today. Can you help me here?
I'm like, okay, so you're a sex therapist, which is crazy because by the looks of her, I wouldn't assume that would be a category that she's a specialist in. And so let me get this straight. As a woman, I'm being told now that it should be socially promoted and acceptable to allow men for us to drug ourselves so men can take out their kinks and fetishes on us instead of maybe saying those kinks and fetishes are actually not okay and don't really have a place in a productive society. And then the other one is like, first of all, it's funny because it's always so insulting to women, but you never hear women, except for women on the right, get upset about it. Of course, when a mother's breast milk is the only person who can have that breast milk. And, it's funny, like, obviously, if you're a man producing it, which is not even a real thing, that's not going to be pumped with the most insane level of God knows what hormones, everything. It's not going to be natural. So to even compare it is so crazy. But then maybe this is why they should just shut down. Because if this is the content you're putting out, which is blatantly false, because that's not even possible, then what are we doing here? What is this?
Link, allow me to quote Jack Burns from Meet the Parents circa year 2000. I have nipples, Greg. Can you milk me?
I could not agree with Emily more. Okay, these like feminists who are all about acceptance and stuff, they were the ones pushing the Me Too movement where guys would get canceled for like asking a girl out at the office. Now those same people want trans freaks in every locker room. They want them on women's sports teams, making women feel unsafe. And now they're telling women, you just need to accept it. Okay, you got to accept the guys coming in. You got to accept the trans coming in, people making you uncomfortable. We just saw this with Gold's Gym in California. It's like all of you liberal feminazis who are like pushing all this Me Too and protect women, y'all don't actually care about protecting women at all because you want men to come in and take over their spaces. And I also agree with Emily on the last point too. All these people who are like pro-choice and sex positive, they're always the most like Chewbacca looking people who probably aren't getting laid if you even come near them with a 10-foot pole.
Hey.
So they're always having the least amount of sex.
Listen, brother, this is your first time on the show. We don't make fun of Wookiees. That's one of the that's one of the basic Rubin Report rules. Well, you actually gave me a great segue here because here is a woman with very fake eyelashes standing next to a tall dude in a dress making fun of actual women. Did I get that right? I think so.
Okay, a lot of the MAGA women receive gender-affirming care such as lip fillers, breast augmentation, etc. Why do you think they are so against gender-affirming care for trans people?
You know you want to say it.
Okay, so I have this thing where, like, you know a MAGA woman when you see one.
1,000%.
They all have a look,
big
right?
Back,
but they like they lips be up to anyway. That's a whole other issue. But yeah, they don't even know because when that was brought up on the House floor, because there was a discussion about this on the House floor. They were like, how dare you say we use, and it's like, no, that's exactly what y'all do. Y'all just didn't realize that that's what it is. But okay. Yeah.
I think I can make another Star Wars reference because her hair looks like Bib Fortuna, the guy that was the translator for Jabba the Hutt. We'll get an image of him in there. Link, help me with this. They're attacking regular women while you've got fake eyelash lady, Bib Fortuna hair, talking to a dude in a dress.
Okay, we've got a man in a dress with pink hair, and then you've got Jasmine Crockett standing there, and it looks like someone took a shit on her head. I'm sorry, it looks like someone took a dump on her head when you look at her hair. And you know what? If she's going to talk about everyone else's looks, people are like, don't be petty, don't be shallow, don't talk about looks. All these liberal women do is attack conservatives for the way they look. It's always their go-to. We don't like your hair. We don't like your makeup. If I say anything negative about Jasmine Crockett, I'm racist because she's a black woman of color. You know what I'm saying? So it's just the hypocrisy and the double standards. So screw you, Jasmine Crockett. And I'm also from Dallas, Texas. Nobody respects you. You don't show up for your constituents, and you're a joke.
I should note that my reaction there wasn't to what you said. Connor put up quickly a picture of Bib Fortuna, and it freaked me out. I thought it was the BBC woman. Emily, thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I am one of those women. I mean, if you go to any of my comment sections, like, it's never my politics that's getting attacked. It's constantly my looks, and it's always coming from liberal women. And it's so funny because it's like, I understand attacking my politics and my opinions. I actually can respect that. But it's so funny. They're like, they all have the same look about them. Well, at the end of the day, if you put every single woman on the left compared to women on the right, we are significantly more attractive. And yes, I understand. Maybe women get too much work done. That's okay. But I'm like, I am like very, very natural, and I still get attacked, and I'm told, oh, you have too much Botox. Oh, you have wrinkles. You don't have enough Botox. And it's like, okay, so my politics must be fantastic if all you have is my looks to attack.
I can make 3 Star Wars references here because if you guys have ever been to Mar-a-Lago, I mean, you walk in there and you see the work these women have done. It's like walking into the cantina on Tatooine. You're like, it's freaky. That's all I'm saying.
I've never seen Star Wars, but I'm going to defend my Mar-a-Lago women. They are beautiful, conservative women. I absolutely love them. So shout out to you guys. But no, it is just this double standard where the left can attack women on the right for the way they look all the time. The biggest difference, I think, between women on the left and women on the right is that women on the right actually have vaginas. You know what I'm saying? And the women on the left have dicks. So that is actually the biggest difference between them. And I think that's also tying into the whole Sydney Sweeney thing. Everyone's mad about Sydney Sweeney for that American Eagle ad, and she was pressured last week into apologizing. It's like, you're mad that, you know, we had Calvin Klein for years. They had these like non-binary obese people with like scars on their chest. Y'all are mad that now we just like have an actual woman. Like Sydney Sweeney's not a supermodel by any means. Like she's okay. She's fine. You go to any SEC school, there are like 1,000 Sydney Sweeneys. Girls even more beautiful. But I think the left is just mad. It's like, oh, they put an actual woman in an ad now with the proper chromosomes. What are they doing? What's
and like, you strike me as a breast guy. Am I right?
The last time I was near a breast was, I think, the first year of my life. Since then, it's pretty nice.
Here's a bit more from Jasmine Crockett.
The hog right now. And for a woman who is openly flirting with trying to run for Texas Senate seat against Senator either John Cornyn or whoever comes out of that primary, you are seeing a woman who's not spending an awful lot of time in Texas. That whole list of places she's been living high on the hog, I didn't see anything mentioning Dallas or Houston
Not been in
or
Amarillo.
Laredo or Amarillo. Right. She's all across the country making sure that she is getting taken care of, that her nails look fabulous, and that she is sounding off however she wants to.
For those of you listening on the audio podcast, what you were seeing on the side there was a list of where Jasmine has been spending her money, including over $4,000 at the Ritz-Carlton, $2,300 at the Luxury Collection, $5,300 at the West Hollywood edition, over $1,100 on the Times Square edition. These are hotels and, you know, fancy restaurants and all the rest of it. Aria Resort over $2,000 in Vegas, et cetera, et cetera. Again, it's like one of these, this doesn't surprise you questions, Emily, but this is just so consistent with all of these people, right? It's socialism for you, but I'm going to ball out when I go to Vegas.
Yeah, I say it every week on my show because I really like to give the names of people and what they're spending to really show these people, like, you should be so angry. You should be so angry, and you're not. My only regret in life is not being a Democrat, because when I see the spending, I mean, we have people in California, no one knows their name, no one knows their job position, and $60,000 on a rooftop in New York, first-class flights around the world, safaris on our tax dollars that cost millions of dollars. And it's so funny. It's all the same people that promote, like, you shouldn't be a millionaire, but then they become millionaires. You shouldn't be a billionaire. And they live these lavish luxury lifestyles. I'm like, that's not socialism. But I'm like, it's funny how much you guys hate on capitalism. You're the biggest capitalist I've ever seen. But yeah, my only regret's not being a crap Democrat.
Well, you are in a Democrat-run state, and there's a guy by the name of Gavin Newsom who's got a buddy in a little bit of hot water. This is just a gratuitous story for me because I despise that lizard person. This from the New York Post. California Governor Gavin Newsom's former chief of staff was arrested Wednesday and charged with plotting with accomplices to swipe $225,000 from an inactive political campaign and funnel it straight into a friend's pocket, federal prosecutors announced Wednesday. Dana Williamson, 53, is now facing a sweeping 23-count federal indictment charging her with conspiracy to commit bank and wire fraud, defrauding the United States, obstructing justice, filing false tax returns, and lying to authorities. Link, I despise this guy. I really do. We played a clip of him from 15 years ago where he was apologizing for banging his best friend's wife. You know, he ran the state into the ground. This is just, you have 30 seconds to say horrible things about Gavin Newsom.
Okay, good. Start the clock. No, Gavin Newsom, yes, slept with his campaign manager's wife. I believe he also lied about going to rehab, let people believe he was really on this, virtuous path and had turned his life around. He won't even call his wife his wife. She's given him how many kids? And he's like, this is my first partner. This is the first spouse of California. I'm like, oh my God, a woman, divorce this man, get out of here. But no, I have zero respect for Gavin Newsom. I'm not shocked that people around him are committing crimes because you are the company you keep. And he's basically been committing crimes with, the California tax dollars for years, building bridges to nowhere. He's running a massive deficit. He shut down the state and then went out to French Laundry to have a Michelin star meal. So I'm not shocked at all because if you surround yourself with crap, you're going to start to stink. And that's who his friends are.
Emily, I won't bludgeon you with having to comment on him since you have to live under his shadow. So instead, I will read this to you from Andy No, just about what happens when these ideas on the left are so ridiculous. It translates into violence. From my friend Andy No, a Muslim far-left extremist who severely beat a TPUSA attendee on the face after robbing him at UC Berkeley has been identified as Jihad Dehebpelose. How did I do on that one? The 25-year-old listed the California Department of Public Health as his employer. Dehebpelose is a rapper known as AR the Believer. He tried desperately to hide his face from the cameras after his disguise was pulled off. He came to the attack wearing gloves. Dehebpelose attends the Lighthouse Mosque in Oakland, California. Emily, good luck with all of that.
Yeah, no, unfortunately I feel like on my show now, I review 100 of these stories every day. The craziest part is when their names are literally jihad. And I'm like, wow, I can't believe they would do something wrong. That's such a, all-American name. I really would expect more. Yeah, I'm not shocked because, not only just the rampant violence and mental illness we have in this country, but we have people here and just a general rise in being very proud of Islam, even though the people here don't really practice Islam. But I do think they take the most negative parts from it and the most violent and extreme parts from it. And obviously, Charlie Kirk was really outspoken about that. And I speak about it on my show 24/7 because I'm like, it just doesn't work in America. You can't assimilate here. It's a very violent religion. As a woman who wants to love and protect other women, it's nothing I can stand for. And when you see these stories come out, I've reviewed multiple of these stories, and it's literally like, oh, Jihad Al Jazeera committed a crime today. And I'm like, oh, great.
It's like Barack Hussein Obama. No, I'm kidding.
He might make a comeback on this show.
You might make a comeback on
to your
point.
Go ahead, Link.
No, I'm just going to say, Barack Hussein Obama, he terrorized the country for 8 years, and we're now being terrorized by his wife's press tour where she complains about her hair and makeup every day. But no,
she's
Emily,
an oppressed black woman.
She's an oppressed. Okay, Michelle Obama, she had to sit in hair and makeup for 2 hours. She is oppressed working class Americans, the forgotten people of this country. But no, you're so right, Emily. It's like they can't assimilate here. And then all these girls, right, in New York City, these young girls, 18 to 29, who went and voted for Zohran Mamdani. It's like, enjoy when he declares Sharia law and y'all have to go to SoulCycle covered in sheets. You know what I'm saying? Enjoy that. Enjoy when men don't respect you. And I'm sure there are probably some Muslim girls watching us on on a hot spot right now. Shout out to you guys, while your husbands are out. But I just don't think they're going to assimilate. It's not going to work. It's not going to happen here in the West.
Well, that broadly is the point. It kind of gets us to the next segment because anyone that wants to assimilate into America, I have no problem with that. As long as you want to put some of the ancient stuff aside that is literally anti-American. However, we're seeing a different version of it, much of it coming out of Minneapolis. And this video from a Minneapolis public school was going crazy viral this week. Take a look.
kuwaasoo dhammaantood ay muujiyeen farxad iyo taageerada weyn ay u hayaan horumarka waxbarasho ee iskuulkan. Intii lagu guda jiray munaasabaddan ayaa waxaa la guddoonsiiyey abaalmarino kala duwan.
I don't speak Somalian, but I think it was loosely translated into, we're not going to be as liberal and progressive when we grow up as you dingbat Karens think. Emily, did I get that right? I know you're fluent in Somali.
Yeah, why is there no white kids? I don't think it's a controversial statement at this point to be if there is schools that are in America, I find that it is weird if there are no white children in it. I'm sorry. I think that's weird. I don't care where it is. If it's Little Somalia in Minneapolis, if it's, Compton here, if it's Long Beach, Orange County, like it's to have no white children in a classroom, I find to be very weird. I also believe that the hijab has no place in America. I think it is one thing to cover your hair. I do not find that acceptable. It is another thing. I believe it should be illegal in America to cover your face. That is a safety issue for the people inside of it. Once again, if you are not going to assimilate here, that classroom looks like it should be in another country, not in the America that I want to raise my children in one day.
You know, even outside of the safety issue, one of the things that I've noticed, particularly when I've gone to London, where there are so many women in burqas, full-on burqas, right? So you can only see the slits of their eyes. First off, they never look at you, right? But it also, outside of the safety that they could have a fucking bomb beneath them or whatever, is that it breaks down the social contract of it's important to walk by your neighbor and say hello. Like that actually is like the most basic low-level stuff that creates a community. Link, go ahead.
I'm actually like jealous of these women in burqas. Like if I had a zit or a breakout, I could be like, hey guys, you know what I'm saying? Like when I have a zit and a breakout, this is going to be me. Okay. It's like, and I also burn easily. I wouldn't have to get my hair done as much. Like maybe there's something to it. And I want to apologize earlier for the Muslim women I offended. I implied that you had husbands. There's probably one husband and multiple of you. So I apologize in advance for that. But no, I'm not shocked about all the Somalians. We have like a Somalian pirate in Washington, D.C. with Ilhan Omar. You know what I'm saying? But I think these kids should have to learn English in school. I really think that is not controversial either, Dave.
Well, to your point, if we don't deal with some of these issues now, things could become much worse like they are in Europe. Here is an anti-rape underwear commercial. Now, Emily, I know we sent you a pair of those to put on for the program today. How do they feel? And don't worry, we wrote it off, so.
It feels like I live in a Democrat-ran city when I'm wearing them. I love it. It's like, dude, like, I'm sorry. Like, you know what's so crazy is like, I've been broke my whole life. I don't come from a wealthy family. I know because I'm white. Everyone just assumes that. And it's so frustrating because now I'm getting older and I'm working a lot and I'm like starting to make money. And I'm like, I want to travel. I've never been able to do that in my whole life. And I'm like, do you know how depressing it is that there's maybe 2 places in the world I even am willing to travel at this point? Because everywhere has been taken over by migrants. Like, I'm sorry, these people at the end of the day, they are not like us. I watch interviews of men talking about literally like, you know, I'll say sexually assaulting women. And it's like, it doesn't even faze them that that's wrong. We have imported the third world. I don't know how we're going to get them out. And it's sad because it is not only just ruining the country, it's ruining the world. Like if we have to get to this point with this ad, things have far gone too long.
Link, I mean, do you agree with the crazy premise that women should not have to wear special reinforced underwear? I mean, what about tolerance and diversity?
Well, it's interesting. I'll go back to my point from a few minutes ago. The women who are wearing these underwear, I don't think they have to worry. I actually don't think anyone's coming near them. I don't think they should be unsafe. I don't know if this is going to sell out. Are we going to see this on QVC or HSN? Like maybe when we keep importing the third world, we're going to have to do this on QVC like Joan Rivers back in the day. We've got like a $40 necklace and then we have these sexual assault prevention underwear, guys.
Get your free underwear.
Yeah. Call in now. So I don't know.
Well, Emily, I gotta be
underwear, so I'm in the wrong person's house.
Emily, I got a place you can vacation. Check out this from Poland.
Ale super wyszło.
Cześć i chwała bohaterom, bohaterom.
So the reason that video is making the rounds is because, you know, there's all the Polish jokes in the world out there. And it turns out after decades of that, the Polish actually did it right. They've largely controlled their border. They've largely stopped illegal immigration. They have a culture. In that video, they're respecting their veterans. And it's like putting aside skin color. It's not about skin color. It's about culture. And ironically, the Polish are getting it right.
Yeah, it's probably on my list of the top 3 places left in the world I can travel to as a woman and not be sexually assaulted by a third world migrant. So I'll make sure to add that to my list. So that's beautiful. They're honoring him. We like that.
That's nice.
Well, If you want to be assaulted by a third world migrant, you can definitely go to New York City, where the new communist/jihadist mayor, I call him Moron Zamboni, he will be not working with ICE and creating even worse conditions for New York as a sanctuary city. Here he has a journalist asking him if Mayor Eric Adams, who just took a trip to Israel, is just trolling him by going to the Holy Land.
Even as the mayor may not be here, his team has been very forthright with ours in setting that relationship up. And when he returns to New York City, I'll be having a sit-down conversation with him to make sure that New Yorkers need not have to worry about the question of transition, that we can just get to work.
And when he returns, you mentioned he's going to Israel. Do you think that he's trolling you with this trip, talking about going to Israel when you said it was not a place that you would visit or that you would stay here in New York? And he said he's talking about anti-Semitism.
I think the mayor is free to spend his remaining days and weeks and months as he so pleases in leading the city, and we're excited to be getting to work right now in the business of the transition.
Link, I don't like that Jew-hating communist jihadist very much, but he does smile, I guess. He does smile. We'll give him that.
Well, speaking of the smile, I'm so glad you brought this up. I was hoping it would come up today. He does this like happy-go-lucky, affable, joyful warrior thing. He was totally unmasked to be the guy we all thought he was and knew he was deep down on election night. Remember, he came out on election night and it was so angry.
Guttural.
Yeah, and it should have been the pinnacle of your joy and happiness. Like, hell, if I became mayor of New York City, I'd be out there like, hey, hey, hey. But he's out there and he's so nasty and so negative, and that's the real Zohran Mamdani behind that smile. I think the only saving grace for people in New York City is that he's not going to be able to accomplish any of these, lofty dreams that he has, okay? I don't think he's going to get much done.
So let me show you guys this video. I've been playing a lot of clips of him lately. This is the CEO of Palantir, Alex Karp. And there's something about, he kind of looks like the guy from, what's the movie that I'm always, what's the movie about the video games? And Ready Player One, thank you. He looks like the guy that's developed the Oasis in Ready Player One. But he's a brilliant guy, and I think he's had good analysis on just most of the problems of the day. Here he is talking about the people that voted for Zohran and how they will likely be let down.
Conversely, how do you get a situation in the city where you just vote for someone who has no experience in doing what they're going to do? None. Even, I view myself as classically progressive. I care. You know what classically progressive is? The government has to work. You know what that means? You need the very best people. Who are the people? They have experience running complicated organizations. They have ideas on how to run software. They understand the complexity of the law. They enforce it. If you're really serious about making the things work for the worker, those are the people you vote for. Those are the people that need to be in charge.
Isn't it interesting, Emily? He describes that as classically progressive. I mean, I would say that basically is classically liberal, actually, but putting aside the terms there, that a certain set of young people, they simply seem to not care that they've just voted, not even just young people. A certain set of people in New York City have just decided to vote for someone who has never done anything, literally, than win elections. That's it. That is the extent of his experience.
Yeah, they voted for not only someone who's never had a job, they voted for a trust fund kid. So it's kind of the worst of both of those. But on top of that, what's crazy is when you watch all the man on the street, which went viral for a reason, every single person voting for him has no idea what he's running on, his policies, who he is as a person. I guess they don't know his background because he doesn't even have one on top of that. But all they're voting for is me, free stuff, freeze rent, I want this, everything for free. And then you see every day he's getting shut down. Like, we can't do free buses. And then not only that, he had his party where he won, and then he had an all-cash bar. So he can't even provide free drinks for when he wins. How is he going to fix New York City?
Link, can you explain to me the mind of the queer for Palestine that's voting for a guy like this guy? Can you help me work through that?
The gays that are voting for Mamdani, I think they just think he's cute. It's like chickens for Chick-fil-A or something. I don't think, if we're going to be serious, I don't think people really voted for Mamdani actually on policy, right? I think people wanted disruption, and he was the guy that their parents warned them about. You know what I'm saying? It's like all these young people who are like, what can I do to really piss my parents off? I'm going to be non-binary and trans and get a nose ring. You know what I'm saying? And then that faded out. So I think a lot of these young people, they voted for Mamdani also because they didn't have great options, okay? And my screen behind me isn't working out either. Maybe Mamdani's running this. socialists running
the socialists are shutting you down, man.
This is New York City, okay? The power just went out, mother effers. But no, I think with Mamdani, people weren't voting for him off of policy. They just wanted disruption. And also, it's like you have Andrew Cuomo, who seems like a guy who's like probably buried a hooker once or twice in his life. And then you have Mamdani. It's like these aren't great options in New York City. You know, he's sort of choosing the lesser of two evils.
It's kind of funny to think like they're all just doing this out of rebellion to their parents. So they chop off their genitals to fight their parents. They vote for the socialists. And one day you're just sitting in a room with the lights flickering on and off, eating government sludge. Like, I wish I had my penis back.
Like or something, yeah.
Guys, that's the end of the program. Link, I'm calling it right now. You can come back. Emily?
All right, I passed.
You passed. Emily, you can always come back as well. It was great seeing you guys. No post-game show on Fridays. See everybody on Monday.
Thank you.